But the good news is there's an upper end, a growing upper end, the new Chinese tourists. They're looking for sophisticated offers, but beware, they will not become Western people. So it's not to say, all these culture problems are over. They are still Chinese people. They still want to be treated according to their Chinese values, their Chinese ideas. So this is something which I heard a lot of discussions recently. People say, okay, now the Chinese people become normal. They become like us. This is not the case. So they are normal, but they are normal in a different way. So you still will have to learn your cultural background lessons. Otherwise, you will not be successful. So what to do? Number one, get your data right. So I took this quote from a very famous and important market research company. And they said something like 60% of China outbound travelers are between 30 and 50 years old. Wow, sounds nice. Don't believe such statements, because if you compare somebody born in 1960 and with somebody born in 1980, these are two different animals. These are totally different people from their background. So you have to have better, more precise information than that. That's what the academics are for. And beware of averages. So all these things you're reading about Chinese economy now reaching a threshold of GDP per person is going to that level and that level, you don't have to care about that. We are not talking about the Chinese. We are talking about the top 5% or 10% of the Chinese population. So it's good that the peasants have a little bit more than they had in the past. I'm happy for them, but they're not our customers. So therefore, averages are not meaningful. So a lot of the things you can develop for the new Chinese tourists are niche products. But as the absolute numbers are so high, niche products can also be good business, can also attract a large number of people. One example I put up there. So China is now the number one export market for French Bordeaux wine, bigger than the United States now. But if you look in China, statistically, like 1 in 1,000 Chinese people ever drinks Bordeaux wine. So on average, there's no market for Bordeaux wine in China. But in absolute numbers, there's the number one import market. So this is the thing you have to keep in mind when you're reading texts about China. And there's a lot of bad information about the Chinese outbound tourism around. So just quick, 2 examples. We are just developing something, a self-drive tour from Germany to Denmark. Self-drive tourism is a very big thing in China now, and also now for outbound. You organize people, they get their own car, but they are driving in a convoy, and there's a tour leader, and everybody has a mobile phone and GPS. So you give your customers the freedom that they can steer their own car, and they can feel free. They could go off the road and go somewhere else, but they won't. So they're still like a coach bus group, but the feeling is different. The feeling is, okay, I'm free, but I'm also secure. If there's a problem, I call the group leader. Or another example, what you can do is, so we are doing, every year we're doing something called the Chinese Tourist Welcoming Award since 80 years. And this year we gave an award to an Italian company. They invented something that for 1 week you go around northern Italy for wine tasting. And at the end of 1 week you get a diploma that you're now an expert in northern Italian wines. And so this is a way to keep customers for a whole week in the region and not just for 1 or 2 days. You have to train your staff so they know if you want to treat Chinese people politely, what is polite. If you have a couple, a gentleman and a lady entering your hotel, should you greet the lady first or should you greet the higher ranking person first? So it's not enough to say, I want to be polite. You have to know what is polite from a Chinese point of view. And I put our own examples there, others of course. So training programs or the quality label we are doing to make sure that you can project that you are expert in the Chinese outbound market also to your customers. So what will happen? China obviously has to decide now where is it going. So the 3 decades of modernization without modernity have been very successful economically, but this has now run its course. So when I teach in China to young Chinese students, they're not grateful anymore for the government that there's such a good economic situation. They take this for granted. And also externally, of course, this idea of being big but not talking about this too much, this is no longer possible. So just what I've been reading on the airplane when I came out here, 2 articles. So one from the Straits Times from Singapore saying China has now to decide, should it conform to global norms or do it recalibrate them? I like that word very much. And the second one from Rahman from Financial Times saying, of course, there will be an economic crisis in China, I think rather soon. And then maybe what we talk about China will change. So you better be prepared for that. What we see, very important point is, yes, I come to the end, don't worry. There's a new 5-year plan in China now, the 12th, and this is emphasizing no longer tourism is a pillar industry. Tourism is to make money. It's now saying tourism is to make money plus to increase the quality of life. So quality enters into the discussion of tourism in China, including outbound tourism in China. And 2 more things. We have a very fast development of a high-speed train system in China. So traveling longer distances, even without an airplane, will become more normal. Chinese people will get more used to that. That also will translate into easier acceptance of traveling long distances outside of China. And as we said, Chinese tourists are not traveling for fun. They're traveling for gaining social capital. So this will not stop even though there is an economic crisis in China. So China will be soon number 1 as a source market. For the mass market, it will still be a question of price only. But for the new Chinese tourists, it will be a question of quality and customized services. So you will have to go an extra mile, but it will be worthwhile. And cultural specifics of the Chinese will not disappear. Still, even with people who know English, they will still be Chinese people and they want to be treated in the Chinese way. Thank you very much.